Manchester United will be purchased by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, with Qatar pulling out of the purchase of Manchester United. We'll get into the finer detail of what that means for Manchester United's future. But for me, and I'm sure many other people tonight, it means the end of Manchester United. It is game over. We will get into that. But let me just say this. This is without question the worst day in Manchester United's recent history. And I do not say that for sensationalism. I say it because I absolutely believe it. There is nothing in this news of Sir Jim acquiring a percentage of Manchester United that makes me think there is any hope. And I will break that down. I will not be losing my shit and ranting here. I will break down my fears of the last few months. And the bottom line is that I think Qatar could have offered 7 billion and they still would not have taken it. The Glazers have been given a lifeline by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he has fucked the future of this football club. He is an enemy of this football club. You can jump. Look, I fully respect the fact that I've seen people on Twitter trying to wind people up saying, I feel Ineos. You know, I don't want state ownership. Well done. You've won whatever he thinks you've won. You know, there was always people that didn't want Qatar and they did want Sir Jim. But what I would say about Sir Jim Ratcliffe is these things. He is an enemy of this football club, the same way the Elliott Group was. The Glazers were on their knees, absolutely screwed. The only way they could stay is if somebody gave them money to stay. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe has allowed that to happen. The interesting thing for me here is two things that I've always said. Firstly, Qatar will buy another Premier League club and we will reap the whirlwind of that mistake that the Glazers have made. They will go and buy another football club to show what they could have done for this football club. And fair play to them. They've got every right to do that. So we are about to lose to another rival anyway. Man City are already miles ahead of us. Newcastle are already miles ahead of us. And there will be another club that will be owned by Qatar this time that will go miles ahead of us. Because regardless of what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's master plan is, it's been a 4-year fucking failure at Nice. And that's bloody playing in the paddling pool compared to the ocean you're about to jump into the Premier League. So he hasn't got a track record. The second thing I would say is Chelsea had the foresight to refuse his offer. Barcelona had the foresight to refuse his offer. Manchester United have taken his offer. This guy is not a credible owner of Manchester United. This guy is a desperado who has got lucky third time lucky. You know, he tried to get Chelsea, he tried to get Barcelona, he's gone to Manchester United, the Glazers have seen a lifeline, he's seen an opportunity, and that is now the future of Manchester United. It's over. It's over. Match-going fans, local fans probably make up more than half the stadium. If they can't empty it, then they don't deserve Qatar, says Stuart Walker. Qatar are harbouring Hamas and can go... Nelson, we're not going political. Serious concern, point mark. What happens if Ratcliffe pegs out? Would there be a contingency plan? I wouldn't give a shit about whether you're worried about the life expectancy of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, mate. I'd be more concerned about the life expectancy of Manchester United because it's flatlining this Saturday evening on the 14th of October. We are fucked. We are fucked. You know, you can go and get Harry Potter around and play around with his wand if you want to, but we're done. We're done, and I'll tell you why we're done. And that, you know, I've even seen people on social media going, at least the Glazers are going. What type of Pratt juice are you drinking? Do you not understand what this means for Manchester United? We are fucked. Completely and utterly done. And if you don't understand that, you know, it's probably better off being you tonight, because I don't know what you think's good about this. This club was never really for sale. This was about how they could find a way to stay and somebody prop them up. And so Jim Ratcliffe says, I'm your man. I'm your man. And club. Now, what I would imagine they will do is they will wrap it up like this. In 3 years' time, it's a gradual progression to buy the whole football club. But straight away, there's a problem with that because that's 3 years. So instead of Qatar buying us now, Sir Jim might buy us in 3 years and be the majority shareholder. So what happens for 3 years? Do we chuck loads of money at Ten Hag? Do we chuck loads of money at the infrastructure? Do we chuck loads of money at the stadium? Do we compete with Man City from day one? Do we fuck? The debt is still there. Sir Jim is borrowing money through Ineos to pay the Glazers anyway, and he won't own the full club for 3 years, even if he does. And every time he buys a little bit more of the club from the Glazers, he's got to find another couple of billion from somewhere. So where's this money coming from? And if he's got it, why is he not buying all of the club now? What I foresee this whole plan to be was the Glazers, Joel and Avram, don't want to sell United for 5 billion, even though we're not worth it today, because in 3 years' time, they think this club could be worth 10 billion and there's a lot more money in it for them. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe probably doesn't mind that, because if he buys 25% today, in 3 years' time, his 25% will be worth more money as well. This is a monetary vehicle for two business outlets in Sir Jim and the Glazers to rinse this fucking football club dry. This is not a sporting project. This is a business project for at least 3 years. And if Sir Jim buys the club in its entirety in 3 years' time, that would be like starting today to try and take Man City on, because we won't be taking on Man City over the next 3 years. You can't compete against Man City when you've got to build a stadium and you've got debt, and Joel and Avram are still here, and Richard Arnold will still be here. You know, nothing is going to massively change at Manchester United over the next 3 years. We will continue to be a former football club and a business. I don't see a future for Manchester United.
There's a genuine possibility here, because I always said that this was the absolute worst case scenario for Manchester United. Worst case scenario would be that the Glazers somehow managed to find investment and then they stayed on as actual owners of the club while somebody else fronted the bill. That may well be exactly what happens. And you can have your grievances, and I have my grievances about the concept of a Qatari linked bid and anything else. But the single worst case scenario was the Glazers staying in control and someone giving them the money. Man, we are staring down a dark, dark tunnel here, people. A really dark tunnel. Genuinely, I'm terrified as to what that means for our club. What happens now? Right? What happens now? Right? There's only one offer. So either the Glazers reject Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos's offer and they stay at as Manchester United owners, but investment is a necessity. Investment is a necessity. It's not a case of, oh, maybe they can get away with not. No, they have to. That's why they've gone down this strategic investment alternatives route. But I can believe it, all right? At some point, the game of poker was going to change. And it's now changed. Sheikh Jassim has pulled out of the race to buy Manchester United. Man, are we? I think it's just kind of like it's setting in now. It's this there is a genuine possibility that the Glazers they don't go anywhere. They do not go fucking anywhere. And they get someone else, someone dumb enough, because I think it's dumb beyond belief to hand those scumbags billions of pounds worth of investment without being in control, which is exactly what Ineos and Ratcliffe would do.
Guys, it's over, it's done, and also I think you don't want to be over dramatic and say things that maybe you live to regret, but could it be over for Man United as well, as we are as a football club, and where we're heading, and what the intentions are for our football club? There hasn't been anything from Sir Jim Ratcliffe yet in terms of bids, in terms of what's going on, but we have to wait and see. But what we do know is Sheikh Jassim gone. He's pulled out. He's gone. And the thing is, it's poor. It's poor. They've offered double the valuation of it. Double the valuation of it. And look now. Look now. They said no. The parasites, the leeches, they said no. You know, I saw who was it? It was Fabrizio Romano, sorry. And he was basically saying that they'd offered, you know, twice the price of it. Let me just hold this properly. My arm's getting tired already. They offered twice the valuation, and the Glazers said no. They made it very, very clear they wanted more. They wanted more. And why are they staying with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, which it looks like it's going to be that? Because they get to stay. They get to keep milking Manchester United. They don't have to put their hands into their own pocket. And essentially, I know we need to find out more about what's going to happen with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but essentially, they've secured minority investment. You know, the last bits we spoke about Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking over the football club and how he was going to do it with him restructuring his bid was him taking a minority percentage, sort of like a 25%. You know, the stakeholders, the shareholders were you know, happy with that after initial problems, as you know, as Sir Jim's bid was dead in the water, which we did with David Hellier a good few months back. And now it's changed. Sheikh Jassim has wanted to take over 100% of this club. Put money into the training facilities, put money into a new stadium, put money into the women's team, put money into the academy. And now we're left with pretty much the worst scenario possible, which is the Glazers getting to stay at the club and completely rinsing Manchester United as a cash cow. They've been absolutely disgraceful in their lack of communication through this whole thing. We said the reason why they ain't saying yes is clearly because they want more. We knew it was because they want more. And I'm not surprised to see this day come. We had the hope, and you know, there was a legitimate bid there, more than a legitimate bid, multiple bids from Sheikh Jassim and Qatar and the 19 Foundation, multiple bids on the table that are good for the Glazers and good for Manchester United. But did they want it? Absolutely not. And they've taken the absolute piss throughout this whole thing. So listen, I feel like you guys, you know, everyone's dejected, everyone's angry. I know there's a small minority of people who don't really unanimous across the board. Sheikh Jassim's gone. And you know what? When he buys another football club in the Premier League, when he takes over, I don't know, I'm just speculating, by the way, but, you know, West Ham or bloody, I don't know. I don't even know. When he takes over someone else and we see them flourish, we'll just have to sit there in jealousy of what could have been, because I really, really fear for us about where we're going now, what we're about to do, where we're heading. And it's poor. It really, really is poor. What does the future now look like for Manchester United?
I'm still sort of a little bit shocked, to be honest with you. I didn't see this coming today. Didn't think at sort of R5 this evening, oh, well, in any minute now we're going to get an announcement that Sheikh Jassim has pulled out of the United bid. I thought this might rumble on for a little bit more. I've actually thought he might end up being successful. I thought he might be the bid that ends up winning, because Sheikh Jassim, with the amount of money the Qatari bid supposedly has, you think that would have been enough to get. However, if the Glazers continue to stay as owners of Manchester United, I don't see us being anywhere near the top of the Premier League or the top of European football over the next 18 years. If it went on for another 18 years, I don't even know where we'd be in 18 years' time. We could be kicking around in the Championship. Honestly, we cannot persist with the Glazer ownership for much longer. I do believe that. I do believe within 5 years at the maximum, we have to have had a change. And that's me being kind. We cannot continue with them. This club has gone backwards ever since they took over. They took over a club in 2005, right, which was the envy of the world. It was. We had one of the best young squads in the world. You look at the players we had. We had Rooney, we had Ronaldo, we had Rio, we had I think Vidic and Evra might have come a bit later, sorry. But we had Sir Alex Ferguson in charge. We had players like we were able to compete. We were able to compete at the very top, and we carried on competing. But what we saw from them was a lack of investment when we needed it, a lack of spending when we needed it. We had all this debt that we've still got. The stadium has just gone decrepit over the last 18 years. 18 years ago, it needed a lot of work. Now it needs even more, because not enough has been done to it. Barely anything's been done to it over those last 18 years. In 2005, our training ground was one of the envies of the world. It's not anymore. It was 5 years old in 2005. Now it's 23 years old. It needs revamping. It needs rebuilding. We've heard reports that when Ronaldo came back to the training ground after leaving in 2009, he couldn't believe that nothing had changed. Now, listen, I don't agree with everything that Ronaldo did in his second stint at the club, especially the way he left. But some of that rings true. Him looking at it going, right, it's the same. How's it not moved on?
Manchester United are not going to be sold to Sheikh Jassim. I bring you the probably worst news that any Manchester United fan could possibly hear. And I'm absolutely distraught. I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'm shattered. I'm absolutely shattered. This is This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to Manchester United. I'm going exclusive as well. Let me just bring up Fabrizio. Exclusively, he's brought it out that Sheikh Jassim has presented fully cash bid, clearing all old debt with zero new debt for 100% of the club. Sheikh Jassim's team declined to comment on this news, citing confidentiality restrictions, but have confirmed they've withdrawn from the process. Manchester United are finished. We're finished. We're fucking done. This is the last straw for me. This beautiful club, the biggest of the biggest, the club with the utmost history, the heritage. We are done. It is over. Sheikh Jassim has had enough, ladies and gentlemen. He's had enough. He's had enough. We can beg, we can crawl, we can cry, we can protest inside the club, outside the club, Instagram, Twitter, hashtags, whatever you want. But today is proof that we are not going to be rescued. We're not going to be rescued. It's over. And I actually feel like I want to cry. So please excuse me if I get emotional on stream, but I actually feel like I want to cry.
So it does look like the Glazers will be staying for a significant amount longer. Very unlikely that this football club is going to be sold in its entirety to Sir Jim Ratcliffe because he's skint. It's an absolute debacle, this, guys. We just want our fucking football club back. Do you know what I mean? It's been 18 bloody years of absolute torment and pain. We just want our football club back. And that means a full sale to somebody that's going to purchase 100% of the football club, that's going to clear our debts, that's going to make Manchester United great again. Unfortunately, we've got Glazer shithouses in charge of this football club who are greedy, and they just want as much as they can possibly get, these grubby little bastards. And they're prepared to wait it out and drag everyone through the mud and not have the best interest of the football team at heart whatsoever in order to get their golden bloody cow at the end of the shitty rainbow